teenager, but to top it off with autism, teenageism and autism, it does not mix very well. But I have this beautiful teenage daughter, that, hey, at the age of 3, she was diagnosed with early childhood developmental delay, and she began school. And I remember her GSRP teacher telling me that I needed to come to an IEP, and I had to bring 4 things: patience, a notebook, a pen, and a snack. And I was like, well, what do I need all this stuff for? Like, I'm just going to parent teacher conference. And she told me as long as my daughter was in the education system, K through 12, that I would have to do an IEP. So basically what started out for me educating myself on the laws, as it related to special education, I developed a passion for it because I knew I was not the only parent that was on this journey. It was unbelievable. Like I knew that it just wasn't me. Like I know I'm not the only parent that's experiencing this and just going through this. And as I've been on this journey, I've met some amazing people.
Mm-hmm. So at the age of 3, before she started school, what signs were you seeing before, or did you even know anything about autism?
So way back then, at that time, you could not receive an autism diagnosis before the age of 10. So her diagnosis was early childhood developmental delay and expressive and receptive language disorder.
Okay. But did you have any, like, not symptoms, but did you have any, like, idea, like,
Inkling?
something is
I knew
wrong? Mm-hmm. What were the signs that you seen?
So my daughter, she was not talking. Like she would just like utter words, and she will also have like these little meltdowns. Like when she got, now that I think about it, at first I'm like, why she keep having all these temper tantrums? But no, it was actually meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she was frustrated because she couldn't get her words out.
Yeah, that's mostly what it is. So far as going to school and learning more about the laws and IEPs, how did you feel when you first went to your IEP meeting? Like, what was your emotions? And was you able to reciprocate everything? Like, how did you feel? Because I know how it is. It's
I can't say what I, originally said, but I was like,
and we already know what you're
IEP, like, what is this? Like, is this a foreign language? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I thought it was. I'm like, they're speaking in a foreign language. So the next step was, well, let me rewind, because this is an important piece. You know how, like, we all first got the diagnosis shock. Mm-hmm. So I was living with my mom and my bonus dad at the time, and I sat on that couch and I cried for like 5 days. No, this is not, I'm not making this up. I'm serious. I cried for 5 days.
And it's hard. That's very hard to know that your child is different. Mm-hmm. Like I had 4 other kids, and to know that he was different, I'm like, okay, what is
going on?
And it kind of felt like the end of the world. That's how I felt. For me, it felt like the end of the world until I started researching and getting all the information that I needed. Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's like, how
we got a caller.
Good afternoon, caller. Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, caller.
Hi, I'm calling because I had a couple of questions I wanted to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
The first question is, what does the letters IEP stand for?
Individual.
And the second question is, are there more children diagnosed with autism now than it was in the 60s?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
IEP is individualized education plan.
And so
say that again. I didn't hear you.
Didn't hear you.
Individualized education plan.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's 1 in 38 kids diagnosed with autism. When he first was diagnosed, it was 1 in 88, and the numbers are rapidly increasing.
Is that because of our diet?
We don't actually. So I'm actually in school doing some research on it. So we don't know if it's environmental. We don't know if it's from the shots. We just really don't know. We don't know. I can't say my thoughts on air, but
you can say your thoughts. This is our show. You can say whatever you want to say.
I just really believe they're doing something with our kids. Mm-hmm. Because I've noticed there's more Afro-American males that have autism than even girls and other races. Not trying to be funny, but me being an educator, I see more boys that have diagnosis of autism. It just makes me wonder. Are they giving them a different batch of shots, or because it really can't be the diet? Because I have a girlfriend, she ate very healthy, no junk food. Versus me, her baby had autism, so she was organic everything, no nothing but water.
And I also know someone that I'm not sure of her diet, but I know that she didn't get her son vaccinated at all, and he still ended up having autism. Too. And she breastfed him and everything. So it's a shame. I feel like it's a shame that don't nobody know. Like all this autism and stuff is going on. A lot of people were supposed to be researching, but it's like, where are the answers? Like, when are we going to ever find out exactly where does it come from?
I think they have done great with the research. Like I said, my daughter, as back then, let's see, she was 2. You couldn't even get a she didn't get her official diagnosis until she was 10, so 7 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they are like, we knew like the medical diagnosis portion, it was still early childhood developmental delay, but as far as her school services, it was autism spectrum disorder that qualified. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But see, I pressed the issue with Hezekiah because my parents knew something was wrong. So I said, you have to tell me something else. Then we went through a series of tests. They were not going to do it until I pressed the issue.
Yeah. And you have to.
Well, thank you, ladies. I'm going to hang up and finish listening. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
I got a quick question. Now, when you said like when you had broke down for those 5 days, was that before or after the IEP?
No, that was after I received her diagnosis from it wasn't from her IEP. She had got diagnosed by early on.
Yeah, that's our MJ. Yeah.
Yep. So she got diagnosed at early on, and at the time I thought my bonus dad was a jerk, but the best words that he told me was like,
get up.
He was like, did your tears make an appointment today? I was like, are you serious? Like, I'm depressed right now. He was like, get up off the couch, go get her some services, whatever it is that she needs. But I can honestly say that those early intervention services has really helped her because my daughter's pediatrician told me my daughter would not talk. She would not be in gen ed. She wouldn't graduate from high school with a high school diploma. My baby has beat the odds. She is graduating in 2026 with her high school diploma. She is in general education. Like it was a journey getting there, but it is. I would do it all over again.
Really?
I would. I would. Same kid. Like minus the
same kid. So that's your
kid. Yep. Minus the teenage hormones. Like they can keep the teenage hormones.
So how do you feel about like, have you ever thought about getting pregnant again? Or what are your feelings about that? Like,
no, thank you.
No, thank you. Me neither.
Expect to talk out the dark.
Right. I'm not. No, thank you.
You know what? It's so funny that Bree asked that because Hezekiah told Zachariah when he was right. He said, Zach, guess what? If I was first, Mama wouldn't have had you. And Zachariah was looking at me. I was like, you know, he's probably right.
But that's a common question, and people do think about that because when we had MJ, and we was a little bit worried, you know. So MJ, my son and my daughter, I should know this, but you know, women probably better with dates. Like, so he 8, she 3. They about 5 years apart.
Like my kids, they 5 years apart.
So I know, but that was something that I thought about, you know, with the next child. I'm like, I don't know. And then I start thinking about, well, do you do those tests? And I know I don't know the name of the test. You know, like the test where you can try to. And I just chose not to do it.
So for me, it had nothing to do with her having autism. It was, I thought about like this, and this is just me. I'm a science person. Like, okay, I had this one child. It's gonna be hard for me to get a babysitter. Like my grandmother had already told me, like, listen, I got this first one. But if you have any more, I'm not gonna babysit.
See,
so I like to travel, and my grandma said I can't get no babysitter.
Listen, when I had Brent, before I had Brent, when I was pregnant, my great grandma, which is my dad's mom, she used to be like, I ain't babysitting. Everybody like, I ain't babysitting. I was like, yeah, all right. Now got babysitters on deck,
Yeah.
and I'm thankful for my support system too. My mom, she
Got
does
them.
well with him. My stepmom, everybody does well with him, and he don't go like a lot of places, but he has those specific
his
places that he got his support places.
You know, Bree, you talked about the support system, and yesterday we did a sister chat. A lot of families don't have support.
No, they
But
don't.
when you have the support, you have to be thankful. I'm thankful that I had the support that I had when I had it, because I was falling down, and I'm this well educated, put together person. When they told my baby had autism and he wasn't talking, then mommy had to be running. That's a hard pill to swallow.
And even if you don't have any support, for anybody that's watching, it's hard.
It is.
It's hard with support. It's
is.
hard without support, but you're gonna get through it. Like
You gotta build your own support.
yeah, you got
system.
yeah, yep.
And your support is not always, family. Like, I thank God for my grandmother.
Mhm.
Grandma told me, take her out of daycare. I was like, excuse me, my grandma, she old school. Take her out of daycare. She said, you can't get your job done because they keep calling. By the time I got home, both of my grandmothers had decided who was gonna keep her on what day so that I can work. And I get it, like, families don't always have,
That's
that
how
support.
that's how I do. I rotate. So I work throughout the week and on the weekends. So I'm only off on Thursdays and Fridays. So one weekend he go to his grandma's house, which is on his dad's side. He go to my mom's house on one weekend. The other weekend he with my stepmom. The other weekend he with my grandma. Like, he get rotated, and it's been good for me. Because at first, before I even started working, I was, it was just heavy on my brain. Like, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do this. I was trying to get the hours at least for when he go to school. I can drop him off and pick him up, but sometimes it don't work like that. But I'm just here to let you guys know that it will all work out.
Listen, it's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, it is.
If you don't have an immediate family support system, you got a community. You got to lean on that neighbor. Talk to that teacher. I promise you, the village. I'm a product of the village, and my daughter is definitely a product of the village.
And it helps. And then, too, I feel like with kids who have special needs, if you don't be bothered with that kid, then no.
Don't.
So I keep saying I got a question.
No, we need questions.
It was a gap in between the diagnosis through early on and age 10. How was that gap? And like, what went on during that period?
So during that period of time, oh, Mike, you got me thinking. I told you she's 17. She went to, what happened? So she received like outside services. She went to speech therapy. She went to occupational therapy. All the time, I was a full-time mom. I was going to school, as well. Listen, when I tell y'all you can do it, I was taking naps in the car at speech therapy. But I had to graduate. That was the funny part. Like, at speech therapy, first I had to sit in the room with her. Then I could sit outside the door, but we couldn't close the door. Then we was able to like close the door just a little bit, then halfway. Then
to make her comfortable?
Yep,
Okay.
till she felt comfortable. I got to sit in the lobby like, yes, I graduated. But she got outside services. She went to school. That's a whole nother story. You gotta roll up your sleeves and battle the schools. But in the meantime, I was taking her to her regular, appointments. And I think a lot of things parents don't know is you have to become established. Like,
You do.
you got to have a neurologist, a pediatrician, if your child on, different medications. But also, you ask during that transition. Let's see. Yeah, we was in school. I had to get an advocate a few times. Had to get an advocate last year. Because they told me that my baby wasn't going to graduate from high school with a diploma, a certificate of completion. So during that time period, definitely it was a struggle. It was a battle. But it was times that I cried. I was frustrated. I was mad. Like, I went through a round. I tapped into my emotions. But the one thing that I had to do, my grandma always taught me, was to pray. You started out with prayer, so I know that y'all talk about God. And I didn't lean on my faith. I leaned into my faith. If I don't know nothing else to do, I know I'm going to pray. So prayer is what has gotten me through.
Most definitely.
Well, let me ask you this. Being an educator, being in the community, I've been advocating since probably before he was born. But when he was born and diagnosis became personal to me. That time span and that gap. You being the person that you and I met you a couple years ago, you're very aggressive. Now we have some moms.
What's wrong with being aggressive?
No.
Aggressive. I feel like
Whole side
when
of
you,
this table.
when you are aggressive, when I'ma speak for us, Aisha.
Okay,
When you are aggressive, you get things done.
No, I was
You get
very
your point
aggressive when it
across.
comes to- I'm very aggressive when it comes to my baby. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of parents out here that if you don't do it in their time frame or when they just let it go by the wayside. And I see this daily.
Me too.
When there are gaps in it, you just do handle it to school. So you have parents, if you had to wait, there are a lot of parents, they're not waiting, they just let their kids go without services and they just fall out.
I'm calling, I'm emailing every chance I get. I'm gonna get what I want. Yeah, I'm going
Like,
to the school.
hey,
They gonna know me. Like right now, my kid, his school, they know me. I'm on the parent portals. I'm emailing. I'm asking questions. All of that.
I'm at school board meeting.
Yeah, all of that. Parent teacher conference. They
They
told.
used to hate to see me coming with Hezekiah because they knew they said you're very toned down, very modest, but when it's about Hezekiah, you body. He wasn't about. I said that's right. He was a different kid. This one here.
I think sometimes it calls for like what the type of teacher that you have. Because I mean, of course, like we mama bears and papa bears, like, are we gonna, you know what I'm saying, defend our kids? But I just feel like our system is broken. Because when you read about the IEP, it's a team,
Right.
You know. I always request to have a meeting at the round table because it's no sides. Like when you sit at a table that's a rectangle, a square, it's 4 sides. So no, we not on no side here. We the team. The child is in the middle. You know, that's
That's
who.
the portrait
That's,
people.
yeah,
No, but that's
You know,
like
that's-
that's yeah.
that's what we here for. So like, let's be a team. And I've had some good apples. I've also had some bad apples, but I also had to humble myself at one point in time. Like, I'm gonna be straight up and honest. I had to humble myself and be like, because it was about my daughter writing with a pencil. And I'm like, no, she need to write. So that was like the mentality of, you know, us growing up. You got to learn how to sign and everything. Now everything digital. They don't just, you know what I'm saying, dot, and that's it. But it took for me to see her be frustrated and cry. And I was like, you know what? Just give her give her electronic to do her work with. She was fine. So I think sometimes us as parents, we got to step outside ourselves and educate.
Did you make those accommodations in her IEP?
Yep. And our parents don't know about that accommodation section either.
Let's talk about accommodations and modifications and more about IEPs, Aisha.
So anything that you specifically like that your child needs, it needs to go in that different schools it's a titled a different section, supplementary aids or, you know, the modification section. If you want your child to have, I say 5 questions per page, you got to put it in that section. If you want your child to have a bounce ball chair for sensory, you have to have it in that section as well as an OT console. What else? If you want them to have a 10 or 15 minute break in between for meltdowns, you have to have it in that section. And a lot of things too, I'm going to say this, Bree, tap into, a lot of parents feel as though their child should have a one-on-one peer. Now, honestly.
Because I was going to get ready. That was my next thing.
I'm going to tell you that it's IDEA, which is Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And you also have MARS, which is the Michigan Administrative Rules for Special Education. That's what governs special education here in Michigan. And you have to ensure that you know those laws, like at least a little bit of it. Like you think that your child's supposed to have a peer. However, they tested high on their evaluation. It's ways to get that peer. But you have to play the waiting game sometime. And I think sometimes that's what we don't like. We want it now. But we see in that's where that mama bear, you know, I'm like, you got to step outside yourself.
Because if you wait, it feel like time is passing. Like, he could be missing out on a lot of stuff. Like, get him the services that he need now.
But I think the waiting period, you can be able to see and gauge exactly what the child needs and what the school actually needs to do too.
But while you're waiting, you can still work with them as well too.
But they do work with them, and they gotta collect the data.
Yeah, they have to
Because you know what I'm saying, like that. I used to be like, nah, like don't you see what she doing?
Yeah, because I had that
And it's
problem
like,
too.
no, it's the data. I'm like, I get it.
They tell me that my son does or doesn't do certain things, and when I go to a parent teacher conference or anything, I sit him down and I show them like he can do this. He play with y'all. He don't play with me. Like he will act like, yeah, I don't want to do it, refusing. He get progress reports. It's refusal. It's all type of stuff on there. But when I have him come home, I get him to do whatever I want him to do at that moment. Yeah, sometimes he might play around, but when I look at him, be like, Brent, come on now, do this, and then you will get this. So it's just up to the kid, really.
It's a catch-22 too with that too. Like he already knows, my kids know I don't play with them. But they know they can play with the teacher because the teacher has other kids in the classroom that they moving around to. So it's like a catch-22 with it. But you want to make sure they collect that correct data, and then they have a process to get it done 30, 60, 90 days.
Mm-hmm. What else? Let me think. Anybody else got any questions while I'm getting my...
I'm loaded.
Go ahead.
So because I mean, like our guest who just kind of called in, I guess not assuming that people might really know our stories and stuff like that. You broke down your first reaction with the diagnosis happened. Bree, what was your first reaction?
I really ain't know nothing about it for real. And I do remember, like, I don't remember the first one, but I do remember the second one, and that's when he was going to kindergarten. We got a caller, but I'm gonna get back to that.
Good afternoon, caller. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine. What's your name and where you calling from?
I wanted to comment. My name is Carmen. I wanted to comment on the side of an educator as well as a grandparent with the child with autism.
All right.
I think that we have to also encourage parents to watch how they talk to the teachers.
Absolutely.
And the educators, their disposition, because unfortunately, it puts your child in a position to be mistreated and or ignored. And I see it often. You know, you have parents that's aggressive, and they come in and they, I want this and this needs to happen and that needs to happen and stuff like that. And it really puts a wedge between the services that the child needs. And what I saw with my own eyes, a lot of teachers do, or social workers that have to put the paperwork in. They have so many days to do, whether it's the paperwork, put reports in. They will wait until right before that date because of the way that they feel like they were treated. So, sometimes, what's that phrase that people used to say? You get more sugar, or you get more bees with honey than what. So you want to be, careful that the aggression that you have with trying to make sure that your child get everything that they need is kind of tempered with, some kindness. So that they can go out their way to make sure that the kid is getting everything that that they need. I know for when we was advocating for my grandson, depending on where you have him or what school you have him in, when he first started going to school, it was like, oh no, I can see this is going to be an issue. And I'm a grandmother that will, be locked up for life. So I was like, yeah, we have to find somewhere where he's going to be able to get what he needs. And the teachers is also going to work with us with what we desire. And our desire was always, as parents, you can go in and tell them or suggest that this is what you want. Mm-hmm. We went in saying, don't treat him like he has autism. Treat him like he's a regular kid.
Talk to them and not
and don't
him.
speak. Mm-hmm, and don't speak that over his life because we're believing God for this. Mm-hmm. We want you to speak the same thing that we're speaking. And, we made sure that the teacher was doing everything. And we wouldn't disturb the class, but we would just peek in the window You know what I'm saying? We will have conversations. And we also, parents, you have the right to hire these people outside of the educational sector and the hours that they give you, because they only give you so many hours. And some of those people that are offering or doing the work in the school, you can also pay them, because a lot of them have businesses on the side. You can pay them to come to your house and to work with your child so they can get extra, assistance. So that's all I call for.
When I mentioned that, the aggressive part, I am aggressive, but I know more than they think that I know. So when I first met with my child's teacher, I would want to say like they was just like trying to play me like I'm a kid until I really like start telling them and saying stuff and suggesting stuff to them. I do remember before he started getting progress reports, when I went to parent teacher conference, just because my kid is in kindergarten, that don't mean like this is not daycare. He's still in school. So he's in school with y'all for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I want to know, at least you only got a couple kids in your classroom. You got 2 or 3 helpers. It shouldn't be no reason why I can't receive a progress report at the end of the week. Hey, Brendan has did this. He went to lunch. He ate this. He didn't like this. Certain stuff like that. So I was telling her like, this is what I need. This is important to me because my child cannot come home and say, hey, mom, we did this or we colored and we learned this and this. He can't do that. So that's
for that accommodation.
You
request that in that.
But I didn't even really have to make no accommodations for that once I had that meeting with her and I explained to her, like, this is important to me. Like, I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I care about my child and I care about what he's doing. I care about him progressing in class. Like, I want to know everything that's going on with him. So if you could kindly take it out your time at the end of the week, every week, let me know what's going on. Then also I had a problem with him eating lunch. Like, I put his safe foods in his lunch. I know for a fact, like, these are the things that he eat. He started coming home with the stuff he left home with. So I'm asking her, like, like, what's going on? Can y'all tell me, how long is lunch? That was my first thing. How long was the lunch? Because I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe he don't have enough time to eat lunch. But I'm still getting down to the bottom of it. I did request her to, let me know like if he ate this or if he at least touched it or opened it or stuff like that.
We just had a parent like that last week, and unfortunately, our children are very smart. When I say they are very smart, they're very smart. Some of the stuff that they do in school with us, when the parents come, it's the total opposite. We had a kid that we just had to have an emergency meeting on. And the mom decided, okay, well, I'm going to come and sit in the class for a couple of days. That kid had perfect behavior.
And I thought about that too.
And it's like, he doesn't act like this when you're not here. He didn't get out his seat. He didn't go grab not another kid in that class. He didn't pull him across the floor. I'm like, wait a minute.
That sounds like something I used to do when I was a kid.
No,
I'm like, such and such. I said, you don't act like this when your mom is not here. He said, I know, I'm sorry.
Look, my daughter, I went to parent teacher conference and her culinary arts teacher was like, yeah, we have them cut, up different vegetables, and she always says that she can't cut. So I hear my daughter, she, uh-oh. So I look at her and I said, hey, do you know how to cut stuff? Yes. I said, well, why you didn't tell her? I said, why you don't do it? I didn't want to. I'm like, okay. And so her teacher was like, I am just beyond shocked. I said, yeah. She pulled one. She pulled one on you.
Yeah, I went to a conference with Brendan before, and actually it was an IEP
I'm gonna
meeting.
continue to listen to you so I can let the line.
Okay, thank you for calling.
So I got a question for y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
So can y'all take a guess at like how many students have disabilities in Wayne?
Oh, we got another caller.
Oh,
we booming today.
Good afternoon.
That's a good question.
Good afternoon.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Miss Taylor. I'm calling from Michigan.
Hi, Miss Taylor.
Hi. My question is, how? I'm trying to figure out how to ask. How far is the difference between a child with sensory processing disorder to a child with autism? Isn't it on the same spectrum?
Yes.
Yes,
It kind of, yeah.
they're similar, very similar, very close proximity.
You said they're very close.
They're very close proximity. One is most kids that have autism, they have some type of sensory disorder. Like my baby, he has sensory with everything he touch, eat. So they are very close in proximity. They don't want to name it autism, but they don't want to name it sensory. So they're very close in proximity.
I think too, I'm gonna add to that. One of the resources that I utilize for my daughter, she does have sensory issues. But it's a therapy called interoception therapy, and it's just basically teaching the person to tap in, to be aware of their feelings, like you know what I'm saying, your senses, the sense to touch, the sense to smell. So I can honestly say, since we started, since her therapist started that, it has been phenomenal.
What is it called again?
Interoception.
Interoception.
Yep, and you would have the doctor write a referral to the occupational therapist, and just talk to the occupational therapist about it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Okay, can y'all answer my question?
You ain't finished.
Oh. So my question was, how many students in Wayne County have disabilities?
Percentage or number?
You can give me like a ballpark figure, the number.
53%.
53%. Okay, what number you think, Mike?
65.
65,000?
Oh, percent.
65%?
90.
So I'm gonna tell y'all the number, and this is from my school data. It's 36,244 students that have disabilities.
36,000.
36,000. So, the entire state of Michigan, they have it's like 217,000 students that have disabilities. So just
that's documented. So
yeah, mysschooldata.org. This is not Aisha talking. This is the the data, the receipts. Detroit Public Schools have over 7,132 students. Out of that, out of those number of students is 1,369 students that have autism. So I say this to say that when I talk about like the whole servicing of the team, how are all of these kids being serviced, like properly? Like you want to talk about community, you want to talk about like teachers, like teachers have burnout too, just like, just like parents. Like, and I empathize like with everybody. And that was my like biggest thing of starting my company, Miss B's Consulting, because I feel like we gotten away from the whole team effort,
right?
And being a community. Like the child is the center of the IEP. That's why we here. But it's like, okay, collectively, how do we come together and like not be against one another to make it work better for the teachers, to make it work better for the parents, to make it work better, you know what I'm saying? Especially for the student.
Yeah.
That's why we work collaboratively to bridge organizations together, because we really do need it. There's a shortage of people to work in special ed period. We don't have enough teachers. We don't have enough parapros. We don't have enough providers. We just don't have enough of anything. That's why I'm big at referring. Okay, this person does this. Might probably get time me referring him. So I'm telling people go to TikTok, look at Breeze stuff.
So listen, is it any way where we can find out the percentage of teachers who are trained for autism, like trained to teach people teach
students with autism?
Yeah.
So they had a special education certification. So you can go to mysschooldata.org. Also, it's through, I know it's licensure with the state of Michigan that you can like look on to see, but I just feel like to be honest, I think the whole world is autistic. I honestly, like, and that's just me.
You see me walk around the house, I do 5 things at once. Can't even pay attention. Like,
yeah, I'd be honestly, like that too.
Yeah, well, my dad gonna get mad, but yeah, like when I used to go to church and we had church in the basement. My sisters could sit there and I'm just sitting there thinking about Super Mario, this, that, basketball, and I can't really sit still and do that. And it was the same thing in the classroom. It's hard to sit still and just focus. Now, I graduated valedictorian because I could just memorize it quick. But just that sit down and focus thing and just on one thing.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing it the other day. I was doing it the other day. No, not church, but just focusing on one thing. I was trying to do something the other day, and I literally wrote down numerous times on 3 sheets of paper, and still was like, I had to sit back like, what's wrong with me? Why I can't?
So do you think like that's, you know what I'm saying, that's normal? Like some of the like, honestly, I look at some of my
I don't think it's no, because I was like, it gotta be. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I didn't literally wrote it down 3 times on 3 different sheets of paper, and I'm like, why can't I, like, my brain is not working? And I'm just like, you know what, forget this, I'm done. I'll come back to it later.
And that's what stick out about autistic children, or their retention and attention is like what you really got to tap into. Like MJ can go and just figure something out, and I don't know how he retain that, but he don't retain when I ask him to do something. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. But like that whole retention, and like when you going through the education, like when I went up to college, just that whole how you retain stuff, even when you go out into your professional field, I feel like it's just over scrutinized with it's not really like true diversity of like understanding, you know?
Man, listen, I did a whole career change. I did. At first I was trying to figure out what's going on with me, but I'm like, no, it's not me. It's the world. I worked for the state of Michigan for 14 years. I donated that job back to the economy. And I promise you, the organization that I work for, I love it because they focus on mental health. You know what I'm saying? Being self-aware. Like, you want to work off-site. Like, our office looks like your house. Like, we can lay on the couch and work. It's a swing. Like, when I tell you that they really focus on your mental health and they care about, like, your well-being, like, we got to work. But definitely, mental health, like, they really care about how you doing.
Oh, that's what's up.
That's a big portion of being productive. You know, and I listened to something that you guys were saying. I think me, Mike, and Bree, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The people that's in the educational system, everybody's not trained to deal with special needs kids.
Everybody shouldn't do.
Carmen said in Michigan there are 11,997 teachers with endorsements in special education, a decrease of 12.4% from 13,693 teachers in the prior period.
So when
nobody want to go into education,
we were thinking that everybody that works in a school should have some type of mental health training at the beginning of the school year. On how to deal with the parents, how to deal with the students, how to deal with each other.
How to deal with yourself first, too.
But then, too, I look at, because I'm in the building, there are a lot of kids that's diagnosed, and then we have a whole batch of kids that there's no paperwork nowhere on them. But you can see clearly that there's something going on with them. So we have a lot more people that have disabilities that's not diagnosed.
So it should be something where if you notice that as a teacher or as a educator. Oh, okay.
But what do you do when you like you propose
to a parent
and they, like resisting? Nah, let's be honest. You can't tell nobody nothing about their kid.
I resisted when
and it's really up to you.
Suggested to me. I did. That's why I kind of asked that question, because when the daycare said it, and I'm like, man, I'm paying you all this money. No, like, what but I asked that question about your first reaction, because like what it seemed like, and I don't have numbers like that. I got engineering numbers, but what it seemed like is that, like, almost like when somebody used the term like the honeymoon, it's like how you was shocked. Do you think that it's a chance that people are shocked for like the whole time they raising their kid? Like, is people stuck in that phase of just numbness of, because I know I was numb when I first found out, but then there's still moments where I'm still zoned out. Like, what's going on here? Do you think that that's some people like defense mechanism to not giving people excuses, but do you think people just shut down like
So
the parents?
I'm no doctor. This is just Aisha saying this. I just think sometimes you know how that saying go, when you know better, you do better. Sometimes people don't know, and they don't know where, like to turn to, like
Where to even start.
Where to even start. Like when I started out on my journey, I used to have to drive to Clawson, Romulus. They ain't had nothing virtual. Michigan Alliance for Families used to host their parent workshops, and I had to drive there. But for me, it was like my mama always taught me, if you want people to know something, put it in a book.
That's right. That's right. That's why I saw there.
Look at that.
Put it in a book. But for me, it was important. Like, I could not fail my daughter. Like, that's how I feel number
with my
one
son.
job on this earth, is to ensure that I provide her with all the tools that she needs to succeed in life.
Because we're not going to be here forever.
We ain't going to be here forever. And I tell her that. And when you say like the shock, like I say, I feel like this like a roller coaster, like some days you up, some days you down, you going through a loop. I be like, is it over yet? Like, but like going
different stages of life.
Yes. Too. Like this whole teenager thing.
Well, we kind of bite.
We got a question. I'm sorry, Patanji. My mom says, are the kids on the spectrum affected by Trump shenanigans?
Most likely, we believe that it will be affected.
Maybe.
So, what do you think about like the I was just looking at something. What was it that he signed something with the educational
U.S. Department of Education to defund it?
What you think about that?
Well, I think we need to have all our documentation in place for our kids right now before the end of the school year.
Not just documentation. I think that is important here in Michigan for you to know who your legislators are, who your senators are, who your congressman or congresswoman is that holds these positions. Write to them, send them letters. Like flood their office. I just feel like it's lots of organizations. You have 4 organizations here. But I'm sure sometimes when you have events, it's not a lot of people, in the community that come out. Like, I did a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of parents didn't know about the basis of, like, knowing your right.
And I'm so mad I missed it because I had to work.
It's okay. I have another one. April the 12th. April 12th. I'm having another one. It's talking about navigating the healthcare system. But I just think that we need a lot more, like, parents need to know, like, it's organizations out here to support, it's parents that's like you, like, and be honest. Like, to be honest, autism is a never ending journey. Like, some days I'm gonna be honest, I love it. Some days I want to punch it in the face. Some days I want to body slam it. Like, autism have its days, but I think that it's definitely a journey. God, therapy, your support system, is you destined to be great. Like, you destined to be great. Like I said, I love my daughter with all my heart, but this whole teenage thing, God bless y'all if y'all ain't went through it yet. Teenagers are something. I
got a long way to go.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this question. Is it teenagers or is it just girls? Because my daughter is 3.
No, you in trouble already.
Okay.
You already in trouble.
I think I got
she got
6 little sisters. I'm starting to think it's just girls.
What was that the swimsuit she was doing?
Oh man.
She already started, so be prepared.
She's a character.
Wait till you gotta pay to get the hair done and the nails and the dresses. Like, my daughter, she going to prom next year and she think this about to be a whole production. I said, girl, this ain't no production. No.
Yeah, prom done changed, man.
Right.
I'm glad I have boys. The Lord just know I can.
Me too.
He's like, overtime, can't have 2 of you.
Anybody got any other questions?
Wait, I think I had another one. Let me see.
While she's looking for her question, I think it's very important that we do keep open communication with the educators in the building, the administrators, the community, your support system, so that we know what's going on with the kids. Because it was I'm gonna tell you, it was challenging for me as a guy, because him sitting still, I'm looking at him right now like, You really sitting still now.
Don't you? You be like, whoo, remember way back when. So are you guys, anybody on the panel familiar with the Wayne County Parent Advisory Committee?
Mm-mm.
So this is, like I say, one of those things that a lot of parents don't know. So what the Wayne County Parent Advisory Committee is, each regional education service agency, like each county, Wayne County, Oakland County, Macomb County, they have a committee of parents that have children that have that receive special education services. Mm-hmm. So each school district should have a representative. Detroit Public Schools can have up to 5 representatives on the Wayne County Parent Advisory Committee. Each other school district can have 2. And each charter school can have 1. So what this group of parents is, they come together each month, and everybody is invited to the meeting. You can go to WayneRisa.net, I believe, Parent Advisory Committee, and it'll pull up when the meetings are. So they discuss different topics and about disabilities, and they tell you like what's going on in the county, like where dollars are being allocated. I was a member of the Wayne County Parent Advisory Committee for my daughter's school district for 7 years. So this is how I know. Like, I knew nothing about the Wayne County Parent Advisory Committee either until they asked me to be their district's representative. Yeah, so that's like a resource, you know what I'm saying, for parents, as well as State of Michigan has the Special Education Advocacy Committee. That's a representation statewide of parents who have children that have received special education services.
That's what's up. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
My question for you is, what exactly does an advocate do for a child that has autism? A special education advocate, like
education?
at IEP meetings and stuff like that. Like, what is that role?
So my role, mine is unique.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bridge the gap. Like I say, let us work together as a team. Not, I don't know if y'all ever went into an IEP meeting, but the tension be like real thick in the room. Like, I come with something like an icebreaker. Like, I hate IEPs, and we all just laugh. But I want to bridge the gap. But basically, what an advocate does is, you familiarize yourself like with the laws, child fine, and you sit and you talk to the parent. You review the child's what I do is I review the IEP, I review the progress report, and I go over it with the parent, and I explain to the parent that this is the current IEP, this is the goal. Agreements with them.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, caller. How are you? Your
name, hi, how are you?
From?
This is Rose from Michigan.
Hi, Rose.
Hi, Rose.
Hi. My question is, how do you know the difference between just a regular tantrum and the disorder that's causing the issue? And second question is, how do you get like the grandparents to understand that it's a disorder and it's not just them acting out? Because, they're used to, they're acting, they're going to beat their butt, they're being disobedient. But, it's more than that. They don't understand that. So those are my questions.
I would say just to educate them. Explain to them exactly what it is. And just to educate them more about it. What about y'all?
I say the same. And then with the tantrums, we didn't really know with MJ. MJ was nonverbal. He's finding his voice like probably in the last few months.
Yeah.
But his thank you. His tantrums was getting pretty extreme because he wanted you to understand. So like 90% of his meltdowns was you ask something too fast and then give him a chance, or he's trying to like explain to you. And I'm talking about, it was crying, he has asthma. It's a lot of other stuff. So, the tantrums, I can't say compared to like another kid or something like that, because he was our first child, but we kind of learned about tantrums and how to deal with them when he was in like OT therapy. So it's kind of like that education portion. Just like we say, educate the grandparents. We had to learn about it through, tapping in with therapists and things like that. But I think every kid kind of unique,
Different.
you know.
Different. That's why it's a spectrum.
And I think it's just about knowing your child and knowing when they want their way and knowing their behaviors and watching their patterns. He was the baby of the family, so I think everybody was tuning into what he was doing. So my mom and dad watched him because I had a job initially where I traveled a lot, so I wasn't home a lot. I was out of state, but they knew the routine. They knew, okay, we're trying to do something different with him. Let's check and see what's going on. That's how I knew, because my mother was adamant she had other grandchildren, but he was very different with his tantrums. I don't know how she meant different, but they were strategic. They were calm.
Strategic.
I really don't know because she hung up.
Behavior is a form of communication.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
But that's a good point too. It's just like every kid. I mean, it's 9 of us, you know. So I'm pretty sure that all of us kind of had our different way.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
God bless y'all parents.
oh man, that age quick like Obama term. But I think you really just learn your kid. Like that's how I kind of look at it with like MJ and Jaleesa. Like, okay, Jaleesa, MJ, like, you know, we ain't having no more either. You know what I'm saying? But you kind of just like really just learn your kid no matter what's going on. Like even if your kid was nonverbal, this, that, whatever, you just kind of, you know, really just learn your kid and don't even. I think that's the way we kind of go about it too. You know.
And I think too is you talk to, you know what I'm saying, talk to the kids, you know what I'm saying, not at them. Like whether I deal with different age groups of kids, you know, like that have autism, and I talk to them, you know, like, and they understand what you're saying. They have a way of communicating, you know what I'm saying, with you to let you know like what it is, like what it is that they want, what it is, you know what I'm saying, that you need, what it is that you know want them to do or whatnot. So I think that's the biggest thing is like learning, you know, like the child. And I think back to the mom, she was asking a question about the tantrums. I know some people are against this, but I really loved ABA therapy for my daughter.
Right.
Because I felt like, and she didn't get it until she was 12. Like, and she just told me last year, like, hey, I don't think I want to do ABA therapy anymore. And I'm like, well, tell me why. But ABA therapy, it really worked. It taught her independence. It taught her how to, you know, manage her anxiety, how to articulate,
and that's what
how
I meant to say, ABA and not OT. Because he started out, because it seemed like you could get into speech therapy quick. But ABA is the one that's like real hard to get into.
It's a waiting
But
list.
I meant to say ABA. ABA was the applied
behavioral
I'm terrible.
analysis. Yep. It's okay. It be too many acronyms that you have to remember, especially in special education.
That's when we started learning about the stuff he was doing and how to kind of work with him. So like speech was, you know, speech is speech. So it was a little bit of sign, a little bit of the AAC device. And then OT was just some of his fine motor. But then ABA, and I do apologize, Rose, ABA was where we start learning how to deal with, you know, his behaviors and some of the things like that.
That parent training. It was it's everything. It's everything. But you was asking about the advocate, like what is an advocate? So basically you go to the meeting and you advocate, you know, for what's in the best interest of the child based upon the data that the school has, the information that the parent provides you. And one thing I really, really want to express to all parents, it's very important that you provide your parent input on your child's IEP. Like it's a section that's there. It says parent input. Make sure that each IEP you put your parent input, because you want to talk about how your child has grown, you know, each year, you know, areas that they may need, you know, their skills, you know, build up in. Like you want to make sure that you have your say so, and it's just not based upon like what the school has to say, you know, in the IEP. And you want to make sure it's not negatively written either. Like, because sometimes people can put some very unprofessional words in the IEP. And I mean, it can be, you know, disheartening. One thing that I learned, even though I am an advocate, take somebody to that meeting with you. You know, like even if, like say, Mike, you and your wife go to the meeting, nope, y'all need another person that's there because you there as part of the parent. When I tell y'all, it felt great. Yes, it felt.
I got
great
one
to
in
be
May,
a parent.
and you gonna go with me.
It felt great to be a parent. I was like, "Whoo!" Like I could say my little snide remarks. Then
I didn't know you. I'm learning because I didn't even know you could bring a. I didn't
You
know
can
you could
bring
bring
some-
somebody else into the
Yes,
IEP.
it's always the courteous. You know what I'm saying? Be courteous and let them know, like, hey, I
Not just
have a
pop
parent
up right
advocate.
then and there.
Yeah, you know, like let them know I have a parent advocate. You know, coming to the meeting and just like keep it copacetic. Like for me, if I notice that it's tension on both sides and the meeting get out of hand, excuse me, no, let's just
I
excuse ourselves.
I
and,
felt
like,
real,
reconvene.
real like the tension the last IEP. My mom came, but I was just like, I heard everything that they were saying, but in my mind, I'm just like, no, like everything that they were saying, I was just like, no. But my mom was like, my thing is, I didn't want him to be in special education. I did, but I didn't want him to be in there with. I just felt like since he's more advanced than the others, it would slow him down, or it would like babysit him. Like he would feel like I don't have to talk because they're not talking. I don't have to do this. And his teacher just mentioned to me, parents teacher conference, like he does do things because he see that the other kids are getting like a little bit more attention. So he probably like, I don't gotta talk, they not talking, or I don't gotta do this or certain stuff like that. So that's my main reason of him. I didn't want him to be in special education.
You know, you can ask for him because Hezekiah did this in high school. He had a half a day in gen ed and a half a day in special ed.
Yeah, that's
you can
what.
put that in IUP, and then you can
You can put that in the IEP too.
You can request it, make it as part of a request. But also, the teacher got to advocate, you know, for your baby too, to say, hey, I don't think that this student, you know, should belongs in this classroom.
The kind of teacher that he got, I don't know.
You mama bear.
Yeah,
It's
she a little
lost.
arrogant. Like
It's laws. Read those laws
And then make sure you're reading the IUP, and you can always amend that IUP. If it's
at any time.
you gonna see how she is, cause I'm bringing you with me. Right. In May, I'm bringing you
any
with me, and you
time.
gonna notice like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like yeah, but
I think sometimes a certain school district, they don't like to see me coming, but it's okay.
Have you worked
I
in Van
tell them,
Buren?
It's,
Van Buren, nope.
They don't. But my thing is like, let's get these services for these babies.
Yeah, because if you don't know, they're not. If you don't,
Like,
if a parent doesn't know, they're not going to just offer you services. So you have to go to the table, kind of know what you want, and it's better to have an advocate because the advocate know what you need.
Or do your research.
or even if you do your research, sometimes they still give you
You run around.
the run around. And I'm just like amazed that it's a school, I believe. It was a couple of months ago. It actually was on the news that they are shutting down their
Rochester Hills.
It's-
Special
no,
education.
it's a special education. It's a program for their
I seen
students that are like severely autistic.
I seen
They
that.
closing the school down at the end of the school year, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what
It's
is going on
It's in
here?
Oakland County, it's in
Yeah.
Rochester Hills.
Like, we're your congressperson, we're your state
Right.
rep. Like, are y'all right? Are y'all like, how can you just close? Like, what are these parents gonna do?
Yeah, that's
That's something to really think about because that's one of your wealthiest counties.
My thing is, what can we do as a community? Please don't say march, sign a petition. Like, honestly, like we need to do something to empower parents. And that's what my workshops are about, empowering parents, because I remember being that mama, like, I don't know what's going on. And I remember how I felt. And it was somebody that took me under their wing, like, hey, this is what you're supposed to have. Like, a lot of people don't know that you can get FMLA for work.
Yeah, you can.
I was just googling that.
Yeah.
Man, they getting on my nerve. I'm just. But you could, I just seen that in the state of Michigan that you can get. I think it's I'm terrible with numbers, like 12 weeks or something like
Up
that.
to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
FMLA, like a lot of parents don't know that FMLA saved my life. Like,
protect your
honestly,
job.
protected my job, because, like, think about it.
You need time off.
Not only that, my daughter, like I said, that sensory piece, she would go to bed about 2:00 in the morning. And I gotta be up for work at 6, drop her off at daycare. When I tell y'all them naps in the car and on my lunch, when I tell you this journey has been a roller coaster, like, I think that more parents are afraid to talk because they don't know what's out here, or they feel like they all alone. But
I think because it's easy to shut down, and then just in our environment, we don't practice therapy. We don't practice a lot of things to like strengthen our mental health. So if you put that in combination with, you know, a child, you kind of just be in that shock, you know, stage.
But you can't shut down, because when you shut down, you damage the kid. You hinder the kid. It makes it worse.
I'm gonna say it's okay to step back, but not away. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. Like, I remember I had caregiver burnout, but it's okay to like lean on your, you know what I'm saying? Like, lean on your support system, or like try to find you a support system for you to, you know what I'm saying, overcome that. Like, I will call a family member, a friend, hey, excuse me, I need a break.
Me too.
You know, like, hey, I'm at my wit's end. My daughter, she didn't got to the point. She needs some time off from me. She gone on Friday with school. Hey, excuse me, mommy, I did my chores. Can I?
Yeah, because they need a break too, just as well. But I was like that too. And I would say, like, I was having like real bad anxiety, and I just was like, he gotta go. Like, not, you know, like, please, I can't do it today. Like, he did this, I can't think straight. He gotta go. I used to be calling my mom and dad crying, like, I can't do it today. Can y'all please come get him? I'm about to drop him off. I cannot do it. And they like, all right, yeah, bring him over.
Across the panel, like, what would be, because we talked about like the initial diagnosis, how we felt. We kind of talked about your journey throughout, you know, the different phases up until when you had to get certain service, and then you got the ABA, and we all kind of at different phases of this journey. Whether somebody at the beginning, no matter where they at, like, what's a piece of advice each of you would give a person, you know?
Don't start with me, start with Aisha.
Oh, wait.
What would be a piece of advice you would give somebody that's like, you know,
that just got
fresh into their journey, or if they're just kind of like struggling with something?
Just one piece of advice? One thing?
No, it don't got to be one piece, because I think a lot of people that watch, like, I think a good portion of them are fresh on this journey, and they just need some encouragement.
Go ahead, Bridget.
I would say get this book, because it has everything that you need to know about autism, from getting your diagnosis to the steps that you do after getting diagnosed, the different therapists, pediatricians to go to, neurologists, everything is included in this book. But we have a caller. Hi, caller.
Good afternoon, caller. This is Dr. Bertani. How can I help you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Hey, my name is Dewan. I just had a comment.
Go ahead.
I was listening. I just joined the live like maybe a couple minutes ago, and I was listening to y'all, and I just want to thank y'all for even doing this. But I definitely believe that we need to spread this message more and more. And my thing is, one of my main things is people gotta, like, I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna say it the way I say it.
Go ahead.
My advice for a lot of people is, for one, you gotta have a father and a mother in the household. To me, I run across a lot of single mothers who's trying to raise autism children on their own.
Like myself.
And with them doing, and with them doing that, and trying to balance work life and take care of the child, the fathers have to be accountability. So my thing is, we have to keep these households together with the father in the home, the husband, the wife, and we have, as parents, we have to each play our role with raising our autism child, more than depending on a teacher at school or somebody outside help. Any outside help to me is like extra credit, but it starts in the home with the mother and the father both being in that child's life, constantly teaching them, because a lot of people get their kids tablets and phones and let them just be on the tablets and phones rather than practicing that additional ABA therapy that they supposed to be doing, or practicing certain things they supposed to stay on their child practicing. And like me, myself, I had my son was autistic. His name was BJ. He passed away 2 years ago at 11 years old. He passed away in sleep. I got different episodes on YouTube called DJ House of Autism, where I just put people in the daily life with me and my son. And me and my son and my wife at the time, the mother, we was a team. You know what I'm saying? He was nonverbal. He used to have a lot of seizures throughout the day, maybe 4 or 5 seizures throughout the day. He was diagnosed with a condition called tuberous sclerosis. And it was basically like tumors in his brain, and the tumors had him having seizures, and the seizures would make him forget things that he learned. So we had to keep constantly teach him the same. Like I spent times at home where I just made him keep taking off his clothes and putting his clothes back on, just so I won't have to keep dressing him. And I had to literally sit there and have patience and do that type of stuff, even from the speech to whatever. Like I had to do that all, any chance that I get. I couldn't take a break. And a lot of times I just blame our culture, because in the Black community, I couldn't really get no help. Like, to be honest with you.
Say it.
I couldn't get no help from our own people to the point where I had to take my son to the suburbs for him to feel accepted, because the white people accepted my son. They didn't make fun of him. They didn't look at him funny. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? But if I took him to a bounce house off of 8 Mile or something like that, people would look at him funny. You got people that snicker and laugh. And I realized it's kids having kids out here. So these parents is really still kids mentally. So they don't know how to teach their child, either how to help an autism child or how to help. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes a village. And I just feel like we don't have a village no more in this culture. So, like when I was growing up, I could go down the street, and if I do something wrong, my neighbor could yell at me or get me straight. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that no more, in my opinion.
You know what? You have a very excellent point. I think we're going to have to do part 2 of this with Aisha and our panel, because this was a very deep conversation that was very much needed. But my business partner's here. We're going to have him come up.
But before you hang up, caller, I appreciate you for calling, because we never get any dads or fathers or nothing to call in. And also, can you comment in the section your YouTube channel so I can go watch? And we also have previous shows, episodes that we do. We do this every Sunday at 4:30. And you can go watch all the previous episodes on there. And you can also follow us on my page is Puzzle Piece Partners, TikTok, Instagram, and we have the Spectrum Talk Instagram page as well. But I thank you for calling. That was we really needed that.
Yeah, we need to hear that. And you can also follow Autism Adapt, and Hezekiah Kids and Dice Clark page.
I'm gonna leave everything in the comments, but I want you to go in there and put your YouTube channel on there, because I do want to see that.
Yeah, I got you.
How you doing, brother?
I found y'all because I met Dice Clark before. It looked like this is page that went live.
Yep, he's here now.
He's here now.
How you doing, bro? You all right?
Yeah, how you doing? I met you a while ago. You met my son too. You had like a fun center thing going on in Livonia, and I brought my son.
Yeah, autism event. What's your name?
My name Dewan Cook.
Yes, sir. I remember you. I do remember you, brother. Well, listen, we appreciate you calling. What I want you to do is put your information on it. We want to set up for you to come on the show as well. We're going to set up a date and time for you to come on here so you can share your story more in depth if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, make sure you put your YouTube information on there, man. We appreciate you keeping in touch and watching.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, thank y'all.
I love when the dads call me.
Yes,
the dads talk about their journey, because
nobody ever talks about it.
That's why
But except for Mike.
Mike talk about his.
So we appreciate Mike for coming in. But thank you guys for tuning in on this Sunday, March 23rd. We had a great conversation, very well, much needed for our community, bridging the gaps, bridging the resources, bringing community people in. And we will have a part 2 of this. Stay tuned for that. And my event.
Can I tell about my event too?
Yeah.
Oh. Can you put up my event, please? It's April 13th. The one for autism.
The autism.
The autism one. And then after that, it's to be a wrap.
No, can y'all post mine on y'all?
I can post it.
And you can talk. You can talk about it too. Go
I have an
ahead.
event. I have
Send
an
it to super producer Rico.
No.
She gonna get it.
Are you gonna be doing that?
Just you can talk about it now though.
Oh, so I have empowerment through special education advocacy. It's called Navigating the Healthcare System. Tickets can be purchased at Eventbrite. It's going to be Saturday, April 12th, 2025 from 1:30 to 4:30. It's $25. Lunch will be provided, and tickets can be purchased at Eventbrite. And thank you to my sponsors, African American Leadership and Cupcake Princess.
Last thing I'll say real quick, I'm going to add that to the ADAPT site. And if you go to ADAPT and go to the community page, I got mad events across all different orgs with the autism and the D-Walk. All the events, a lot of events going on in April. I've been dropping it. So if you go to ADAPT and go to the community page, you will be able to find Aisha event and also other events that's going on.
All right.
And then for me, starting April, I will have a new cover for the Parent Resource Guidebook. I switched the cover and I added more pages. For T-shirts, well, the book is $35, and you can purchase it directly through Instagram or TikTok. The T-shirts I have, one says "Someone I Love Has Autism," and the other one is "Proud Autism Mom." So for the "Someone I Love Has Autism" shirts, they will remain black and white, and then for the mom shirts, which I have on, I will be providing new colors. So for boy moms, it will be blue shirts, and for girl moms, it will be pink shirts, and those are $25. And you can see the back of my shirts.
Cool.
Or your ponytail.
Okay, Dice is going to talk about our event, and then
You didn't?
no, we're having Hezekiah Paints the Deep Blue with Dice Clark. It's a community dinner dance fashion show, and it's a free event for parents to come out and enjoy a day with their kids, to enjoy dancing, dinner, and to network with other parents. So it's gonna be at the Pistons Loft. Please go on Eventbrite to register, and if you have any questions, please DM me at Dr. Bertanti or Hezekiah Kids.
And also, shout out to Miss April Chamber, who's going to be hosting the fashion show with kids with autism during the. And then shout out to Kid J, who's actually going to perform. And if y'all listen to the intro and the exit, y'all hear the music that he set up for us. So shout out to them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you,
y'all
Aisha.
let me know later if they did good without me.
Of course we did.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course we did. I'm here, so you know I held it down.
So we love y'all. Stay tuned. About to set up for What Up, Though.
Thank you.
If you looking for some information on autism, you should call in. We got Dice Clark, puzzle pieces, all depth to Hezekiah Kids. Now we bringing awareness to the community, hoping you benefit. Put in your earbuds, turn up the volume, y'all know what time it is. Let's go. Welcome to the Spectrum Talk. What? Welcome to the Spectrum Talk. Let's go. Welcome to the Spectrum Talk. Hey. Welcome to the Spectrum Talk. Welcome to the Spectrum Talk. Yeah. Welcome to the Spectrum Talk. Okay. This is the Spectrum Talk. This is the Spectrum Talk. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Kid J. I hope everybody's having a blessed day. And thank you for tuning into the Spectrum Talk podcast.